Uncover the chilling tales of 5 tourists whose dream getaways in South Africa turned into nightmares. From savage attacks to heartbreaking accidents, these shocking deaths will make you rethink paradise. How safe is your next adventure? What secrets lie beneath the surface of South Africa's most tragic tourist stories? Join us as we expose the unsettling truth. On July 27, 2019, Ivan Ivanov, an esteemed agricultural expert, embarked on a business trip to Cape Town. After days of diligent work, Ivan spent that Saturday exploring Cape Town's breathtaking natural landscapes. Eager to experience the beauty of South Africa, he set out on a hike, unaware of the looming danger. Ivan hoped to make the most of his trip, but tragically, he never returned to safety. The simple hike that was meant to be a peaceful escape turned into a haunting nightmare, forever marking his final journey. At 44 years old, Ivan was a family man. His wife and kids, however, did not accompany him on his hike. On that fateful morning, Ivan set off alone, looking forward to enjoying the natural beauty of the East Fort hiking trail, Chapman's Peak Drive. The route is generally considered challenging, but famous for hiking, running, and walking. Those who want solitude can also enjoy the hike during the quieter times of the day. It is one of the most scenic hikes around Cape Town, so it's no surprise Ivan had chosen it as his destination for the day. Ivan carried some personal items: a BlackBerry cell phone, cash, a green cloak, a first aid kit, and some food, such as biltong and prunes. He also had a bottle of water and other small belongings. Unbeknownst to him, those few insignificant items would seal his fate. Ivan wasn't aware of the dangers lurking in the shadows of the trail. Earlier that day, just moments before Ivan started his hike, a couple walking their dog on the trail saw something that made them hide. They saw 3 armed men who looked like trouble. It is possible that hiding saved the couple's life, but Ivan Ivanov wasn't so lucky. Sinaye Mposelwa, Matthew Gio, and Franklin Isaacs were waiting in the shadows of the trail. The trio had a simple plan. They decided to ambush any hiker who came that way and rob them of their possessions. The 3 men had knives, which they were to use on any victim who resisted the robbery. And then, they found their perfect victim. Ivan Ivanov was enjoying his hike, still close to the parking lot. He was walking peacefully, even though his family had asked him to reconsider his decision to hike in South Africa, believing it was a dangerous place, especially for a tourist. But Ivan was a self-confident man. He wanted to spend the weekend hiking, especially since he liked Cape Town nature very much. As Ivan hiked, he walked past the bushes where Sinaye Mposelwa, Matthew Gio, and Franklin Isaacs hid. The men left their hiding spot and demanded Ivan give them his belongings. When Ivan refused, they struck. Their attack was brutal. Ivan was stabbed mercilessly 11 times in his back and chest. The 3 men then ran away, covered in Ivan's blood. The 3 men stole his belongings and fled the scene. The couple walking their dog and witnessing the attacker's erratic behavior were the first to raise the alarm. Authorities quickly arrived at the scene, but nothing could be done for Ivan Ivanov, who succumbed to his multiple penetrating wounds. Soon after, 2 men found Sinaye Mposelwa, one of the attackers, covered in blood. The men handed Mposelwa to the police. Mposelwa was linked to the crime when the blood on his clothes was found to be Ivan's. Even more, the man had some of Ivan's belongings on him. Sinaye Mposelwa admitted his role in the murder, although he refused to testify against his accomplices, citing threats from a prison gang. In August 2023, Mposelwa was sentenced to 25 years in prison for the murder and an additional 10 years for the aggravated robbery. The court showed leniency because of Mposelwa's difficult personal circumstances and because the man showed remorse. Matthew Gio and Franklin Isaacs, the other 2 attackers, have pleaded not guilty. The trial continues as Cape Town locals ask for increased measures to protect tourists and locals. In July 2024, Carlos Luna, a 43-year-old from Ejea de los Caballeros, near Zaragoza, Spain, embarked on a journey to South Africa's Pilanesberg National Park. Joined by his fiancée and 2 of her female friends who lived in Johannesburg, Carlos sought the thrill of close encounters with nature. This experience tragically ended in a terrifying disaster. On Sunday, July 7th, 2024, Carlos Luna, his fiancée and their friends entered Pilanesberg National Park through the Bagasia Gate. Pilanesberg is a famous sanctuary with some of nature's most magnificent creatures in an ancient volcanic crater. The park is a natural habitat for Africa's so-called Big Five: elephant, buffalo, lion, leopard, and rhino. The group was in high spirits. They had cameras, so they took pictures of the wildlife and the landscape as they drove through the park. Soon after they entered the park, though, they spotted something that encouraged 43-year-old Carlos Luna to make a reckless decision. The group spotted a breeding herd of elephants by a lake, 3 adults and 3 calves. It was an awe-inspiring sight, enough that Carlos left their vehicle's safety, wanting to capture some up-close pictures of the herd. By doing so, he actively disregarded the park's guidelines, which state that tourists must remain in their vehicles to ensure their safety and that of wildlife. But not everyone supported the man's decision. His fiancée and her 2 friends tried to get Carlos back to safety. They pleaded with him, asking him over and over again to abandon his plan. But Carlos's decision was final. With his camera in his hands, the man approached the towering animals. He ventured closer and closer, possibly hoping to take the picture of a lifetime. The herd was impressive. It consisted of a massive 3.5-ton female elephant, the leader of the group, 2 adult male elephants, and 3 calves. The animals were calm initially, probably unaware of the approaching human. However, that changed almost instantly as soon as the matriarch, the female elephant who led the group, sensed Carlos approaching. She was spooked. Elephants are fiercely protective of their young, and any perceived threat can provoke a violent response. The matriarch charged at Carlos, driven by instinct to protect her family. Carlos was overcome by panic. The 2 other adult males joined the charge. It was a terrifying sight, made even worse by the animal's sheer size. Carlos knew he was in grave danger. As such, he turned and started to run, his camera still in his hands. He had to make it back to the vehicle. Meanwhile, his fiancée and her friends watched in horror. They could do nothing but scream as the angry elephants closed in. It all happened in a flash. The elephants overtook Carlos, knocking him down and trampling him into the earth. 30 seconds. That's all it took for 43-year-old Carlos Luna to find his gruesome end. The attack left behind a horrifying sight. Blood-soaked clothing, and the remnants of Carlos Luna's body, crushed beyond recognition. After the attack, the herd left peacefully, and their perceived threat disappeared. Park officials were alerted by the frantic witnesses. They rushed to the site, but they knew nothing could be gone. Carlos's fiancée and friends were left in a state of pure shock, requiring immediate counseling to cope with the trauma. A female elephant can stand over 11 feet tall, weigh up to 4 tons, and run up to 25 miles per hour. Bull elephants are even more prominent, reaching up to 13 feet in height and weighing as much as 6 tons. Carlos Luna never stood a chance against the herd. Following the incident, the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board conveyed their sincere condolences to Carlos's family and underlined the significance of following safety procedures. Peter Nell, the acting chief conservation officer, emphasized that these rules are in place to safeguard both visitors and animals, and that this occurrence should serve as a clear reminder of the possible consequences of disobeying them. On August 3, 2023, Ka Hao Teo, a 40-year-old consultant trauma and orthopedic surgeon from the UK, was on a dream vacation with his wife, Sarah, his mother, Ina, and his young son, 2-year-old Hugo, in South Africa. The happy family spent that Thursday whale watching in Hermanus and viewing penguins at Betty's Bay. But what started as a beautiful day soon became a dark nightmare that changed their lives forever. After a fantastic day observing the natural wonders of South Africa, the Teo family set off back to Cape Town, but they came to a dead end when they got closer to the city. Directed by police, they were unwittingly led into the heart of a violent minibus taxi strike near the township of Nyanga. The driver, Ka Hao, was told to follow a white car ahead, and so he did, unaware that they were rushing towards an awful fate. The family noticed signs of unrest as they drove through the area. Car wheels were scattered everywhere, and pedestrians walked about uneasily. When they drove past a burnt-out bus, they knew something was wrong, but the bus was merely a sign of the terror to come. A man emerged from the crowd of protesters and approached their vehicle. It all happened so fast. The man didn't even stop as he pulled out his gun and fired, a single shot shattering the car's window and striking Ka Hao Teo in the head. Horrified, Ka Hao's mother, Ina, grabbed the steering wheel, desperately attempting to regain control of the Toyota RAV4. Some nearby locals rushed to the family's help, and together they managed to bring the car to a halt. Despite his wound, Ka Hao was still alive. Struggling to breathe, his family was terrified. A man, who had also been directed into Nyanga by the police, approached them. He told Sarah, Ka Hao's wife, that he'd seen the shooter and wanted to help, but he feared he'd be arrested. The man told Sarah to apply pressure on her husband's wound, hoping to buy him some time until help arrived. Except help never arrived, even though the family's car was now stopped near a police station. There were about 6 police officers at the scene, but according to Ka Hao's family, their attitude was baffling. The officers asked about what happened, but they did not move to help, as the family begged them to take Ka Hao to the hospital. According to the Teo family, the police officers stood around chatting as Kahau died slowly. The family pleaded with the police, fearing the worst. Sarah and Aina told them Kahau was a medic who saved lives, but this was not enough to make the officers agree to help. But with every passing minute, hope dwindled. An hour later, an ambulance finally arrived, but it was too late. Kahautio had died. According to his family, the police continued to fail them. They were merely instructed to visit the morgue the next day to identify Kahau's body, and then dismissed without further assistance. According to the family, the paramedics were the only ones who helped them and showed them empathy. The paramedics also contacted the British Embassy on the family's behalf. The South African Police Service acknowledged the family's right to file complaints, but refrained from addressing the allegations. No arrests have been made, and the family's plea for witnesses to come forward hangs in the air. Kahauteo's death left a void not only in the hearts of his loved ones, but also in the medical community. His colleagues at Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow, Essex, remembered him as a dedicated and talented surgeon, a rising star in trauma and orthopedics. It was October 3rd, 2022. Jörg Schnarr, a 67-year-old retired human resources director from Fulda, Germany, had just begun his holiday with his wife Vera and their close friends, Rainer and Andrea Nuchter. The couple planned to go on their dream safari in South Africa. The group had landed in Johannesburg earlier that day and were eagerly driving towards the Kruger National Park for a luxurious stay at Madluli Lodge. But they never made it to their accommodation. Kruger National Park is one of Africa's largest game reserves and a famous wildlife sanctuary. The park is home to the Big Five, and people worldwide come to see its iconic species, such as lions, buffaloes, leopards, elephants, and rhinos. When it happened, Jörg, his wife, and his friends were just 25 miles from the park's main gate. Their dream vacation was shattered before it even began. The friends were traveling through the farming village of Whitewater, in Mpumalanga province, with Jörg at the wheel, when a car swerved in front of their vehicle, blocking their path and preventing them from making it to the safety of the park. Inside the car were 3 armed men who wanted to rob Jörg's group. They ordered Jörg to stop the vehicle. They wanted everyone to step out, but 67-year-old Jörg Schnarr refused to stop the car. Instead, he decided to defy the 3 gunmen, probably meaning to protect his loved ones. Jörg locked the doors and started to reverse. It was a decision that would cost him his life. But as he did so, one of the gunmen opened fire, shooting Jörg at point-blank range through the window. The bullet lodged itself in Jörg Schnarr's upper body. The vehicle veered out of control, careening backward for some 330 feet before crashing into the wall of a local school. Jörg's wife and friends were in shock, fearing for their lives, but the attackers fled the scene empty-handed. Paramedics and police arrived swiftly, but it was too late. Jörg was beyond saving. He was found slumped over the wheel, having died almost instantly from the fatal gunshot wound. The South African Police Service launched an immediate search for the 3 suspects. The Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency offered complete trauma counseling to help the survivors cope with the horrific experience. The organization called the shooting an act of sabotage against the travel and tourism sector and offered a £500 reward for information leading to the murderer's capture. Police found one of the suspects in possession of the white Toyota Taz automobile used in the gruesome murder. The suspects are thought to be connected to a series of business robberies in the area. Joseph Nyalunga, 35, Marshall Tsibo Mamba, 38, and Bonga Musa Fortune Matsani, 25, face charges of murder, attempted murder, and attempted hijacking. Their case has been transferred to the Mbombela High Court for trial. The trial is set for 2024. The attack has not only claimed the life of a beloved husband and friend, but has also cast a shadow over the reputation of the Kruger National Park, a haven for wildlife enthusiasts worldwide. It was October 23, 2015, and John and Lynette Rogers, a newlywed couple from Hollywood, Northern Ireland, were on honeymoon in South Africa. The newlyweds were beyond happy. At that point, they had been together for 6 beautiful years, and their honeymoon was supposed to be something they would never forget. 6 days after their wedding, John and Lynette Rogers found their ends together, in death as they were in life. Both John and Lynette were adventurers. John was a part-time reservist corporal in the Territorial Army who worked for an office supply company in Belfast. Lynette was a physiotherapist who enjoyed new experiences. As such, she had even planned to go cage diving with sharks on her honeymoon, but she never got to do it. That Saturday, the couple had been exploring Robberg Beach, a stretch renowned for its beauty and dangerous waters. Robberg Beach, part of the Robberg Nature Reserve, offers breathtaking views and opportunities to see seals, dolphins, and even whales during migration season. However, the area is also known for its strong currents and unpredictable waves, making it a place where caution is always advised. John and Lynette were strong swimmers, so getting in the water was not unusual. As such, they ventured into the sea, unaware of the tricky conditions. The surf was rough, and powerful rip currents swirled beneath the surface, a hidden danger to even the strongest swimmers. But something went wrong that afternoon. Soon enough, at about 5:30 p.m. on October 23, 2015, the couple found themselves struggling against the relentless force of the ocean. Even more, there was nobody else on the beach. The couple fought for their lives, but they were no match to the force of the waves. They lost. By the time a local man discovered John's body in the shallow surf around 6 p.m., it was too late. The National Sea Rescue Institute, NSRI, responded swiftly, but their efforts to revive him were in vain. 2 women found Lynette's body about 600 feet away along the same beach. Doctors attempted frantically to perform CPR, but it was too late. Lynette and John Rogers were both pronounced dead at the scene, merely 6 days after their wedding. The news of their untimely deaths left their friends and family in a state of disbelief, struggling to comprehend how such a beautiful occasion had turned into an unthinkable, beyond cruel tragedy. If anything, Lynette and John's family were somewhat comforted by the fact that Lynette and John's bodies had been found and returned to them. Strong rip currents and rough sea conditions were likely the cause of the drowning, according to the NSRI. No foul play is suspected. The police have filed an inquest docket to investigate the specifics of the couple's tragic demise and ensure that every detail of the incident is thoroughly examined.